Greetings, it's Thia. Thanks for coming back. So if you're still here, it means that this information is of interest to you, and I'm grateful that you feel like there's something that you might be able to learn from this or add to your bucket of helping tools. It's a healing. A lot of people don't think about astrology as a healing tool, but it so is. And I'm grateful for that. Just to give you a little more insight into astrology is I refer to it as a psycho-spiritual science. It takes a piece of psychology, the spirituality, and science. It's the oldest science around, actually. And through that, we can learn about our own personal unique design. And it's unlimited amount of information. And so I've been talking about some life cycles that come about where things can be very difficult. The simplest one is about every 7 years. So that is the Saturn cycle. Saturn spends 29 years going around Sun, and every about 7.5 years, it squares up, or it's opposite, where ours is placed uniquely in our own chart, and it challenges us to release anything that no longer serves us, to make room for new. And that's difficult many times. I've yet to, I think I met one person in my life who said, I had my second Saturn return, I didn't notice anything. And she was a very highly spiritual, trained individual, and I was like, that's interesting, because I've seen people who I think do their work very consistently, and when Saturn comes along, there's still something that's not serving. Anyway, there's no judgment in any of this. It's just about an understanding. And so when Saturn touches up, and I've talked about that, for Saturn opposite is around 13, 14, 15. It's changing as time moves. And then there's the 28 to 30, right around the 29. And then, it comes back again around that 14 year, every 7 years. So when you get to that 14 cycle, when you think about that, that's about 42 to 43. That's another hit with the one I spoke about last time of the Uranus and the Neptune, and it just pushes on us. Just tries to make us disappear, tries to hold us in place. We feel stuck. We feel like we want to escape, and we need to accept that life is changing, moving very quickly. That's the Uranus piece. So if you have personal planets, this is my theory, concept, is if you have personal planets that fall in sensitive places where these planets are transiting, coming, pushing at the time, then you feel a sense of, or might feel a sense of, this doesn't work. I'm out of here. There has to be something better than this. And that's quite a bit of what I struggled with, because I have those planets in sensitive areas, significant designs in my astrological chart. I have what are called T-squares, several of them. There's 6 planets involved in it, in that Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron, and Saturn are all involved in that. And then I have a personal planet that sits in there, my Venus. That's why you hear me talk about, if it's around love and money, I'm out of here, because it's so hard. Now, I'll talk more about that, and I don't speak about it lightly, because I have been through periods that it was so dark and intense that I couldn't function. And for someone like me, who has been busy, corporate executive, did all that work and social and all of that, that was a big switch for me. But what happened is I started developing my spiritual understanding of my life and what I really came here for and who I really am, and all that brought to the surface when these aspects or these transits would hit. I was already wide open, and then it would be like bam. So now I didn't really figure all this out until the last few years of the astrology and how it worked. So at the time they were happening, I didn't know. I wish I had known. I wish I had known, and I could have said, oh, and this shall pass too, and here's a date where it might feel better. But I didn't have that information. And I'm trying to give it to you, or to whoever who might be listening, that when it gets really tough, one should really be looking at what are the planets on my chart doing. There's usually always something that can be shared. That's why it's important not just to get your natal chart done, but to keep up with the transits and solar returns, things like that. So not to get into astrobabble, because I think I talked about I don't like to speak astrobabble. I like to speak to people to people that it can be understandable. It's a tool. There's no magic in it. I have no magic. There's no magic in the astrology. It's a tool. And it's important, I think, that we use it for a good purpose. So I'm moving along the cycles now. So I covered the 28 to 30, and that can roll over into 31, 32, because it can start early, like at 27, depending on the unique chart, because sometimes we don't get the message exactly when it hits, and it's the after effect of it. So there are no exact times. That's why I call it significant life cycles, because it's different for individuals. It's different by generation sometimes, and it's different based on how we perceive it. So what makes us unique with astrology is if I look at your chart and I lay it all out there and I understand most of it, it doesn't mean I know anything about you. That's the first and foremost thing I want to say. A lot of people are like, I don't know if you want to look at my chart. I'm like, that is the human potential. It's what I call a map of the potential of this life. Whether people are living that way or not, you don't know, because we have free will. We have free will, and so we can make decisions every day about how we're going to respond, how we're going to act, the decisions we're going to make. Whether we accept and listen to that message that says, well, maybe you could do it this way, it's best. Sometimes we just move on it. And if we don't believe in astrology, or we don't believe there's anything other than ourselves that are helping us along in this life, then we don't take time to listen to those other I don't want to say voices, because I don't think it's about voices. It's the other impressions that show up for us, whether we hear them, we feel them, we know them. It's listening to that inner voice. That has a whole lot to do with how we respond to our unique cosmic design. So in this next video, I'm going to talk more about that 40, 39, 40, 41, 42, even up to 43, and do more specifically about that planet combinations. Until next time, be sure and sign up, subscribe, join our Facebook group if this is something you think that can help in your life, and allow yourself to know that you're not alone. You're really not alone, and there are tools that can help. This shall pass too. Until next time, bye-bye.